I'm Arvind Rapaka. I'm the CEO of the company and glad to see you all. So let's start the call. Today, I'm going to get inside building a generative AI shopping experience platform, right? So I'll be mostly talking about our experiences in building in new commerce experience using generative AI. So before I do that, let me introduce very quickly. I'm Arvind Rapaka, and I've been in the industry for the last 15 years, working at Yahoo, Answers, Nextdoor, building mostly recommendation products. I led teams at Yahoo Shopping, and been forefront of a lot of AI products at Yahoo and Nextdoor as well. So in the past, I have founded 2 companies and successfully exited, and also was a big part of AnswerSync acquisition for $1 billion. So that is a little bit about myself. But today I want a little bit focusing on what we're doing at Cartup, right? And what is the experience that we are gaining from the market? So that's one of the main points that I want to cover. The second one that I want to cover is why marketers are struggling to give the best digital experience to the shopper for a better conversion, right? And the third thing that I want to cover today is how to harness the generative AI, right? So there's a lot of problems in the industry, which is pretty much related to conversion, right? There are big giants like Amazon that are really crushing the market. What should these other smaller or mid-scale e-commerces should do to harness the generative AI? And some of the use cases that I want to go through that we are working and how the market is receiving those. Some of those things also I will go, some in technical, some in mostly at a high level. But I will leave plenty of time for Q&A, mostly focusing on any of your questions related to use case, towards market, anything you can ask. But I will give that a shot at the end. We'll have plenty of time to go through your use cases or whatever that you want to discuss with us. So before I do that, let me start with a story, right? There was a large toy company in Europe, right, that was close to going to bankruptcy, right? Just like Toys R Us, and they were trying to stop the decline. And every year they're seeing like 30% year overall decline. And they tried a lot, right? The first thing that they did was increasing their ad spend, right? They started to put a lot of money into advertising. And unfortunately, that didn't work. And then they increased spending on hiring in marketing and dev teams. That didn't work either, right? And then they even tested various solutions like personalization solutions from the vendors like Dynamic Yield, Salesforce, and IBM. And that didn't help them either, right? So last year we approached them, fortunately, and through our partnership network that we want to give it a try. And in the first time in their sales cycle, they were profitable in 5 years, right? The revenue was increased by 45%. Their average order value increased by 2x. They increased the basket size by 60%. And that didn't happen accidentally, right? And all our customers are seeing very similar numbers across different KPI metrics. But the key thing here is harnessing the generative AI. But before I go into the detail about harnessing, how do we harness, what is essential for harnessing the generative AI and data, it is very important for us to understand some of the key metrics that the market is struggling, right? So one thing that we are clearly seeing from the market is that the data that we're seeing is around 3% of the site visitors are nearly contributing 55% of total revenue, right? And if you look into 80% of the site visitors don't contribute anything towards total revenue, and 70% of the site visitor contribute 45%. The key thing is to improve this, right? Once we improve the 55%, the 3%, even if we improve to 6%, that will lead to almost double the revenue, right? That's the key there. And if you look into these personalization solutions, right, one of the clear things that is evolving is 92% of the customers say that the personalized discovery services influence the purchases. But at the same time, 95% of the customers says that the bad personalization and the discovery services influence not to buy those products or move away from this, right? And the key thing that one belief that that executives have is that the personalization of discovery services is most important for key for the conversion, but are clueless. And this is a very interesting statement by one of the Fortune 500. I really liked it. If you could just stop marketing dresses to men, that would be amazing, right? So that bad is that personalization today. Why is that, right? Because we don't understand the data. We don't understand about the user. How do we do that, right? So so let's talk about some of the numbers. This is about 99% of the merchants are struggling with a similar kind of problems, right? They're not able to convert their customers into buyers, right? So let us look into some numbers, right? Last year, merchants invested a staggering $58 billion in marketing and advertising solutions to attract shoppers to their websites. However, within 5 seconds, 47% of the shoppers bounced out, and it is getting worse, right? And why are they failing? So when we started looking into this market 2 years ago, what came out is, right, most of this e-commerce merchants are stuck in the old technology. The old technology is somewhat in 2008, mostly not leveraging the AI, not leveraging the real-time optimization, not leveraging the AI part of it. And 95% depend on third-party cookies. So there is no real-time optimization. One of the key things in any kind of e-commerce conversion is real-time optimization, right? And when you do that, the clear thing is ability to understand your shopper journey in real time and ability to understand your products so that you can relate for that optimization. The key thing is real-time optimization is mission, and they mostly depend on third-party cookies. What does that mean? Like if you go to some other site, like let's say Nordstrom, right? And you looked into, for example, a shirt. And what happens is mostly the retargeting activates. So if you go to CNN.com, they will put an ad related to the shirt that you just saw at Nordstrom. But the problem is you might have changed your mind, or you're not interested, or you might have already bought it, right? That's a bad kind of targeting. And when you come back to Nordstrom, they're putting a very similar recommendations around the shirt, though you might not be interested at all. So third-party cookies are the biggest problem. And whatever that efficiency that left in the third-party cookie is going away, because the major browsers by 2024, end of 2024, there won't be any kind of third-party cookies, but these marketers are buying from Facebook or Google ad exchanges. And the fourth one is the discovery services that current e-commerce merchants have are stale and static. So what does that mean? So every time I see an and someone else, we see the same kind of recommendations. That is not a good way to strategize your recommendations, right? So each one has a different kind of profile. Each one has a different kind of taste. Understanding that and ability to have a dynamic recommendations or discovery services in terms of search, product listing pages, that gives a preference to your behavior analysis is critical. And that is one of the struggling point in the current markets, right? The other thing that we did notice a lot is all of this discovery services siloed. So what does that mean? So each one of the services, for example, the search services, the recommendation services, the badging services, any kind of discovery services are working in silos. They're not communicating with each other to build an intelligence about a product or the user or the shopper, right? And the critical part in building the new type of e-commerce experience is having a unified view about your products and also about your shoppers, right? And you got to own your data. Most of the e-commerce company, they buy the services from the vendors or they're in-house where they're siloed each of the services. And the key thing is to bring together, right? And that's not happening right now. And one of the biggest problem today, if you look into any of the e-commerce, they are optimizing for the pages. What does that mean? So if I land in a page, they're optimizing what are the best recommendations I can give for that anchor product. For example, if I'm looking at an iPhone, I'm optimizing for a case, and that is not right? You have to optimize for the shopper journey, right? So that means that if I know the case was already bought by a shopper, can I show something else? That's not happening at all. So that's optimization of the journey is critical. And for that, the shopper understanding is most important. And also having that real-time journey that takes how that shopper is taking is key to recommend to surface the right product, the right time for conversion. So to put all together, these are the top 5 reasons current marketers are struggling to convert their shoppers. Old technology, the real-time optimization, lack of that, and then depend on third-party cookies, discovery services stale, and most of the discovery services siloed, and most of the shopper journey is not optimized, right? So now the key thing is, how do we move forward? How do we build these new services that really build an engaging services for their shoppers and experience that really helps them to convert, right? And before I get into that, right, and the Gen AI commerce is the most important part of it. But what is Gen AI commerce experience, right? So I went into ChatGPT. This is an interesting thing, right? And asked ChatGPT, what is generative AI, right? So the first line was my last training cut off September 2021. And then it started giving all kind of explanation of what Gen AI could be. But to make it crisp, right? The Gen AI commerce experience is relating the AI content generating capabilities that is involved in understanding your products and the shopper interaction in real time for an effective conversion, right? So there's a lot of words here. I will, each one, I will peel it off. But before we peel it off, there are 3 key principles, right? That Gen AI commerce is most important. The companies who are doing e-commerce experience, they need to own the data, right? Data is the most important part. It's not just owning the data, but also harnessing the data. That is what when I say owning the data. Most of the e-commerce companies, if you go, they are buying this third-party technology from Bloomreach, Dynamic Yield, and they don't have any kind of understanding what the data is telling, right? And the key thing is not only just the shopper data, but also understanding the product data is a very important part in this Gen AI experience. And I will go through why that is important when I'm going to discuss the technical part of it. The second part is once you own the data, you need to understand the data. And that is where the Gen AI comes in, right? And if you think about today, what we are doing as a company is that we take these images, we take these product descriptions, and trying to extract these features, right, that really tells what the product is. For example, if it's a DeWalt drill, understanding what drill bit goes with it, what kind of RPM it is, all of that kind of data is a very important part in surfacing the right products when we need to, when the customer is looking for those or the shopper is looking for those, right? So the key here is ability to go through these images, go through these product descriptions, and trying to decipher those information and building a structure out of that is a very essential part in the Gen AI. And the third part is the optimize, right? So it is a very important part, as I told before, that understanding the shopper journey. And the key thing is the reasons is a very important part. For example, most of the times, I might have a different profile of behavioral analysis, but I might have changed because I'm buying a gift for someone else. The key thing is understanding the recency and optimizing for that recency is also very important. That means that in real time, we need to understand what someone or some shopper is trying to buy and how he's going to convert. That analysis has to be done. And that is what we call neural optimization, which I will go through in detail, right? So let's put all of this together, right? So there are three major components, as we talked about, is the first-party data. As I told, first-party data is the most confusing term, but let me explain a little bit what that first-party data. First-party data is something that you collect out of your browsing history from a shopper, right? And that is the first-party data that you're collecting on behalf of your shoppers. And the second part is also the product data, right? The product data is a very critical part of it, this journey. And most of the vendors, right, or the e-commerce merchants don't have any understanding. If you look into the product detail pages, they don't have any kind of feature extraction process that really tells what this product is. When you don't know what this product is, you can't relate to what user wants, right? So that's a very important part of it. The second part is the information layer, which we call. This is where the magic happens. As I was talking just a while ago, right? Once this first party comes into our systems, how do we go and enrich into building user profiles, product profiles, and how they're related, right? And the third part is all about your service layer and optimization, right? As you're serving your shoppers with maybe it's search, maybe recommendation, maybe it's conversational commerce or connecting with moments. How do you surface these products and how do you relate? And based on this journey, you're in real time, thousands of parameters are mapped from product journey to the right products so that the shopper can convert. So that is the platform that we need for today's generative shopping experience. So a little bit, I want to go into also the technology that we're building here, right? So bear with me. So I will make it very simple. There's a lot of complex diagrams, but it's very, very simple. It's majorly parts into three parts, right? So as I was talking about the data ingestion layer, which ingests data into our data pipelines, right? There are a lot of data pipelines. There's offline data pipelines and there's real-time pipelines as well. So both of these events are getting collected right? And as we collect, the next process is training and inference, right? So we have real-time inferences and also real-time training components that are constantly training on this data. For example, as new products are uploaded into our systems, we're training and trying to understand and extract features. And also at the same time, we're also understanding the user preferences, building the user recency behaviors. And that is a very critical part of it. And the third part is very important part, which is we call session context layer, right? All of this information that goes into this inference layer is constantly building a session context. So what does that mean, right? If I'm shopping, so it is constantly building my journey in forms of embeddings, right? If you don't know what embedding is, it's kind of a neural representation of your behavior, right? In an n-dimensional space. So it is nothing but a vector that are constantly, inferred from our training networks or neural networks. And this basically tells how what is Arvind really wants to do in this journey that he wants to, what is he wants to accomplish. We're constantly learning about that, right? Or we also understand to the granularity level is that Arvind is just browsing, and most of the times what happens is that the browsing activities sometimes don't convert in any form or shape, but also will give us a view of what Arvind wants to do. And most of the times why it is important is the customer journey is a loops. What does that mean? So it is not a linear path that people are thinking about, right? I go into a shopping platform and then buy, or Amazon, I go and buy it. So some items are due, but not most of the items. I might be going into the reviews. I might be going into YouTube, getting the social proofs and coming back. So the session context is very important. When it comes back, how do we give a way to restart where he left off, right? And that's a critical part in this journey as well. And then we also, for some of the real-time inferences, we go into external APIs, which is using prompt engineering for our connecting with moments, which I'm going to discuss in details in next few slides. But that goes into our external ChatGPT APIs as well. But this is overall what happens, right? And the key for us is, again, coming back to three parts. I'm reiterating because it's so important: owning your data, understanding your data, and optimizing the data for conversion, right? So if you put all these three together, that's exactly this diagram is representing. So let's go into a little bit of real-time optimization, which is very, very important part of it. So as I was telling about, right, we get these product features, we get these user features, which is basically consist of two types of user features. One is on the current recency, what exactly right now a shopper wants to accomplish, right? And what is the behavior from the past? These are the two behavior points that we're constantly looking into. These ranges anywhere between 100 to 500 signals that we collect from the price points, from the discounts that the user is interested, the brand affinity, right? And then the purchasing behavior, all of that, we're constantly looking in these features, which are mostly, again, neural embeddings, which again I told is an n-dimensional space. It is just a representation of what exactly a shopper is looking for, right? And then the product features, again, are mostly embedded, right? These product features we're extracting for each product at a very granular level, right? We understand from the pictures, from the product descriptions, from the reviews, whatever, product cataloging, and extracting these features. So exactly we can pinpoint what is Arvind is looking for. And I can give you one example. If you're trying to buy a drill, we can find exact drill bit that can go with it, because we are looking deeply into this product cataloging information and surfacing the right product that can go with the drill bit, so that effectively we increase the basket size, right? And as this historical embeddings and the session embeddings and the product embeddings are coming, we're constantly ranking. There's a neural network model that constantly ranking what is the right product that I need to put for Perry versus Bashar, right? So that's a very important part in this journey for us. So the ranking is basically depends on all these features that we're extracting, and then that brings out a result set that is shown for each of our shoppers, which are different from each one of us. So let's get into some of the use cases, right? This is mostly the generative use cases I'm going to talk about, where our customers are seeing really exciting, wants to really put a lot of priorities on this, because the generative AI is one of the generational technologies that really will shape up the world, not only just e-commerce, but any other field that we talk about, right? So, but for today's conversation, I will be focusing on the use cases of the e-commerce. So one that is really important for us, connecting with moments, right? We're seeing a lot of interest from our customers, especially think about QSR, quick service. What is that called? Okay. Anyways, it is a fast food chains, right? Which is mostly, like Domino's, Pizza Hut, McDonald's. These are these are QSR industries. So you can think about asking, like, building a menu for you, right? So for example, you can say 5 people are vegetarian, 10 people are non-vegetarian, and they eat chicken, 5 people eat beef. So if you can give that kind of information, it automatically builds the pizzas that you need to order and what is the right amount, right? So very similar. And I also can get the task done. I can say that I want to camp at Lake Tahoe with my 2 kids next week. Please recommend me what I should do there, right? It will give you a list of items that you need to buy, given that it understands what is the temperature, what is the weather looks like in Lake Tahoe, and what is the 2 kids require for you to camp out for 2 days, right? So that's very interesting, because it creates a mechanism for us to get things done really quickly rather than do endless search, right? It reminds you in one shot and you can buy all of that. That's a very powerful mechanism where you can increase your customer basket sizes to ability for them to effectively shop in your site. The second thing that we're seeing also very interesting is content personalization, right? And this is one of the biggest problem the industry is facing today. I can tell you that one of our customers, largest customer in India, right? So they want some kind of content personalization. What does that mean, right? So think about countries like India and other parts where the multilingual languages are there. It's so very important to surface the product contents to the images that they can relate to, right? So for example, a white lady looking into a jacket, if we put a white model and versus an Indian woman looking for a jacket, we have an image of an Indian woman wearing that would be a game changer, right? And also, if I understand that someone is interested in a jacket that is leather versus some other material, then I can surface those out as well, right? So the key thing is content personalization is a very, very important part in this journey. The product descriptions to product images, and even reviews, right? Recently, you're seeing that Amazon has done a very good job in reviews, where they're surfacing what exactly a customer is talking positively about some of the features, and also talking negatives about some of the features about any products, right? And that is really the content personalization. And if I can bring the features that you are looking for in front of you, so you have a better conversion rate, or you will look for a different product in the same site, because you're navigating, you're understanding the journey. So this content personalization is a very powerful mechanism, and it will be forefront of the new commerce experience in next few years, right? Whatever I see, from the images to product description to product reviews, will be totally different from what someone else would see. There's undoubtedly a virtual assistant, which is a big part of the generative AI. As the language models are getting sophisticated, right, the virtual assistants are becoming more prominent in terms of how they can talk, how they can give you the suggest, how they can recommend, how they can surface the right products for you. Not only just that, you can also ask questions like, what is a written policy, right? It's always somewhere hidden inside a page where you don't know what the written policies are, right? And you can surface that. Helps you, the e-commerce merchant, to put the right information in front of the shopper, so that they're very confident in buying the products, right? So that's a very big part of the journey as well in the generative AI space. And our own recommendations, right? Our friend recommendations in which are pretty much everybody knows, as we're seeing the products we're getting recommended on Amazon or any other site, right? From Make a Look to frequently bought together, viewed also viewed, they're all existing. But one of the key thing there, the problem that I was just alluding to, was they're heavily static and stale, right? They're not very dynamic. And the key thing is to migrate them. And the recommendations are a big part of the user journey. And then they will be for next few years as well. The key thing is to how do we improve to make it better. For example, 35% of revenue, right, for Amazon comes to recommendation and understanding the shopper journey. That's not going anywhere. But the key thing is, how does this morph into it, right? So there will be more static, more dynamic, right? More understanding the shopper in real time, and they're changing the recommendations that really resonates with the shopper, so that they would convert into a buyer, right? And that is what neural recommendations can do it. Basically, these embeddings that are created, which are just talking, and these are related in real time with the reasons you also been embedded into this in this framework that helps you to find the right product effortlessly, right? So that will also end a lot of your browsing time and more time for yourself. And this neural search, right? And search is a very big part of it. No matter who tells you, search is not going anywhere. It will be a big part of our journeys, and it is only going to get better, right? One of the biggest things about the neural networks is understanding the semantic nature of the queries, right? That's been a big part, challenging part in the journey for our shoppers, where they're not able to, mostly right now, today, if you see, the search is mostly textual based search, right? The text are compared, but key thing is understanding the really the semantic nature of it, right? If somebody says, I need 7 size shoe for my 14 years old, so the key thing is understanding who that product is, what is the size of the product is, and what brands that like the 7-year would look would like, right? So the semantic nature is very important, and once you understand the semantic nature of the query, then you can map into the right products that are built for 14-year-old, and the brands, the price points, the products that these 14 years old would look like, right? So it's going to get better, but the key thing is adopting this generative AI is most important part in this journey as well. The other thing that one of the top use cases that everybody's they're going through pain for mostly for our e-commerce merchants as we talk with large, small, medium scale is cataloging, right? If you look into cataloging today, one of the merchants that we're talking is a top merchant, right? They every 3 months they get new products, thousands, hundreds and thousands of products, right, in fashion industry. And they go through a painful mechanism of manual process of auto cataloging, right? So everybody, they're like jillions of humans going and updating the colors to product descriptions, to categories, to materials. This is a painful way of doing product cataloging. It's kind of a $50 billion industry today. Amazon to the small companies spend on cataloging effectively. But if you look into cataloging today, still the humans, the effectiveness of cataloging is very low, even with the human doing it, right? So the key thing for us is how do we enable merchants to build better content, better cataloging for their products, right? And also on the fly, building multiple variations of this product cataloging is also very important. For example, if a shirt someone, a 14-year-old buying a shirt, he's looking for a different kind of a product description from someone like me who is mostly going for official wear, right? So there's a lot of difference that comes in, and today the product descriptions are mostly static, and the key for us is to make it so dynamic, and that is not humanly possible, right? Because writing multiple variations takes a lot of time consuming, and not effective means. And the other part is also the internationalization. Some of our customers talking that we want to go, we are very effective in one area, but we're not effective in international areas, right? We want to expand our businesses elsewhere in the world, right? How do we do that, right? It takes a lot of manual process as we're talking with our customers. They often complain from the currency to product description, language, culture, all of that is a very, very big part of this journey, right? And building a team like that is not an easy part of it. So what we need is a fine-tuned algorithms that are fine-tuned for different languages, different cultures, different attributes, and that is the key there, right? And that would really change not only cataloging problem, but also building a product descriptions and images that really I can relate where differ from the other someone can relate, right? So for example, in the image, I can have a different image because I'm more athletic, or someone who is not more athletic can have a different kind of an image that resonates their body type to their expressions, right? So it's a very, very important part of it in this journey. So, and if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to me. But really exciting to talk about the generative AI and the shopping experience. I think I'm excited about the future of the shopping experience. And the key for us is to harness this technology to build the best experience and putting smiles across the world of shoppers, right? So with that said, I want to thank you all for the time, and also want to let you know that every month we do have this kind of webinars. So certainly we'll reach out to you as and when we schedule this event, guys. Oh, somebody chatted. Okay, good. Have a good one. Bye.